everybody. I want to share a little bit with you. I'm going to make some Southern Style biscuits. These are going to be buttermilk biscuits. Now you got to understand, I'm not using regular buttermilk today. I don't have a cultured buttermilk. So what I did was, I took a 1 cup of regular sweet milk, and I added probably, now for me, it's probably about 4 or 5 tablespoons of lemon juice. Probably about 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now you can use less or you can use more. And I mixed it up in here. Now what that does is it helps to culture the milk a little bit, gives it a little sour taste, and kind of makes a makeshift buttermilk. Now, I'm from Louisiana, and my grandmother taught my mother taught me, and I used to also work for a company called Popeye's Fried Chicken, and I used to make their biscuits there. Now, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take 1 cup of self-rising flour. Okay, but 1 cup of self-rising flour. I need a little extra in there. Now, I'm going to do something that most people don't do. I'm a diabetic, so I have to be careful with the breads, the white flours, sugars, and things like that. So every so often, I like to treat myself to a good pan of biscuits with well, not a whole pan. I eat a couple of biscuits. So I'm not going to do a whole lot this morning. You can just kind of double this recipe. But one of the things I like to do is use animal fats. Like I like real butter from cream. I like to use lard, and people say, "Oh man, you're gonna clog your arteries, buddy." And so a lot of people are gonna use regular vegetable shortening and things like that. You got to understand, I do more of a keto mix of things, which I use a lot of fats. Okay, now I don't eat a lot of fats. This is just kind of a ever so often thing. But I'm going to put in probably about 1/3 of a cup of lard in my flour. And so what I'm going to do with that, you're going to have to get down and dirty. You got to understand that. You're going to be getting dirty with your hands. You're going to make Southern Style Buttermilk Biscuits, okay? Now, I would suggest that they are much better when you're using regular buttermilk, but I don't have that today, and I'm not going to the store because of all the stuff that's going on. But what you want to do, you want to take your shortening, and you want to start mixing it into your flour, okay? And so the more, you got to understand it. If you don't use enough shortening, I don't even have an apron on. If you don't use enough shortening, and what's going to happen is your biscuits are going to come out really dry. They're not going to be very moist at all. And I like a good moist biscuit. I don't like a biscuit that you try to bite into it and it's all dry and I can't swallow it. I like a biscuit, man, that's, you know what I'm saying. And my mother, now I'm just going to be honest with you, my mother is the real biscuiteer. Anybody that's ever had her biscuits knows what I'm talking about. She's had all kinds of restaurants. That woman can make some biscuits. So now this is what I want you to look here. Okay, so I don't know if the camera can show it. I'm going to try to get a little close so you can kind of see what I got going on here. Now this here, you can see I can make a ball, almost a ball with that, with my flour. Okay, so you're going to be able to break that apart. It needs to have enough consistency that when you got your lard or your shortening, that you can actually make a soft ball. It's still going to be crumbly. So that's how I gauge and test how much shortening or lard that I'm going to use. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is, because I like a good buttermilk taste, I'm going to take sour cream. I'm getting a couple big old globs in there. Sour cream, and I'm going to start mixing that in there. All right, the sour cream, man, is going to give it some good old, we're not making sourdough biscuits, but it kind of gives it a little sourdough taste. So when you're making your biscuits, you want to make sure that you put some sour cream in there if you're trying to make Southern Style biscuits. And I promise you, my friend, you're going to love biscuits with sour cream. Now, I'm going to pour about a half a cup of the milk in there, and I don't want to You know, I don't want to saturate this too much to where, it's just all a big mess. We're not trying to make pancake batter, or we're not trying to make batter consistent with like cornmeal. So I want to mix this up, and I may have almost got too much milk in there. I don't know. May have almost got too much, but I think we're going to be fine, because it's going to be. You can kind of see how it's, what consistency it is. And then I'm going to take and put some flour on my countertop here, and so that way, kind of see how that is. What I'm saying, it's a pretty good little batch of dough here. So move that out of the way. I probably use about a half a cup of milk in that. The rest was the sour cream. I'm gonna move some things out of the way here, and get this ball rolling. Yes, indeed. Now I like to kind of roll my biscuits out a little, because I'm going to knead it. Actually, is what I'm fixing to do. I'm fixing to knead the dough and get it ready. Now you got to remember, you don't want to add too much flour, because you don't want to make your biscuits dry. And that's one thing I hate. And if you get a good Southern style biscuit, my friend, I promise you, you ain't even got to have nothing on it. You don't have to put no butter. You don't have to put no jelly. You don't have to put no gravy. If you got a good Southern style biscuit, my friend, you can tell if it's a good biscuit is if you knead it without putting anything on it. Now, the good thing is, I'm gonna set this over here. Boy, I'm a mess maker. Good thing my wife's not at home right now. She's out visiting her family, and so you can see, kind of make sure you get your hands with some some flour on it, so that your biscuit dough don't stick to your hands. Okay, and that's the way I do it. And I don't want to put too much flour in my biscuit dough. All right, because I don't want to dry it out. So you can see that it's still real fluffy. All right, and some of you guys out there, man, I've been cooking since I was a little boy, and my mother was one of the world's best cooks, still is one of the world's best cooks. And I love going home, because when I get home, Mama, I know, is going to make me some cornbread, and she's going to make me some of her biscuits. All right, so now that I got that, the next thing is we need a buttered pan, a pan that's buttered, okay? And I just so happen to have one that we're going to use over here in my dehydrator. I'm going to grab it. Now, I done told my wife, I said, don't be using my pans for anything other than dehydrating eggs. But since I'm in such a hurry this morning, these pans are already clean. I'm going to take my butter. It's kind of at room temperature. My butter's at room temperature, so I don't have to worry, about having to melt butter or anything like that. Kind of see it broke off right there. So I'm just going to kind of push this around on my pan. Now, my whole pan really don't need to be buttered, because I'm not doing biscuits, a full pan of biscuits. I'm only doing, 2 or 3, 4, something like that, or 4, 3, or 2 or 1 is what the Cajuns say in Louisiana. Right? 4, 3, or 2 or 1. That's I guess it's a deduction. 4, 3, or 2. That's, you started off with 4, and you're going to end up with none. You make these kind of biscuits, my friend. This is going to be some of the best holiday time biscuits. Now, I'm going to have to show you guys too how to make some tomato gravy. Now, I like tomato gravy with a lot of tomatoes. Matter of fact, now that's one thing different that I like that my mother does, and she uses a little can of tomatoes, but I like to use a can of tomatoes, and I also like to use a can of rotel tomatoes, and I'll put both of those in my skillet, and that's what I will do. All right, so now I'm ready now to do my biscuits. Okay, some people make them big old cat head biscuits. My mama does that sometimes, but you know, a good little size biscuit, all right, is going to be fine. So about 2.5, maybe 3 inches, maybe not even that big. I don't know, because they're gonna. One thing you want to do though, and you got to understand this. Now I brought that up about even with the top of the pan. So this is something you got to understand, all right, when you're making the biscuits, because you don't want some biscuits to get done quicker than the other biscuits, because then you're going to make some biscuits heavier, some biscuits are going to be a little lighter. But one of the things you want to do is your thickness. You want to think about your thickness, because it depends. If you make them thinner than the other one, then guess what's going to happen? All right, if you're making them thinner, they're going to cook faster. So it doesn't really matter if they're that big around or that big around, as long as you make them the same thickness, because the heat's going to penetrate from the bottom or from the top when you do if you do any broiling, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm trying to make all mine close to the same size, but I'm going to make them pretty much the same thickness, okay? So that way when you're cooking your biscuits, you don't cook some of your biscuits faster than the other biscuit, okay? Look at here, man. I'm going to have, ooh, Lord of mercy. I'm going to have me at least 5 biscuits. I'm telling you right now. Maybe 5 and a little piece of one. But I'm going to put them in a bag, a old sandwich bag or a Ziploc bag, something or another that I can, you know, kind of keep my biscuits fresh. I'll tell you what I do like. I would much rather have a fresh biscuit than one that's, you know, been left over for a day. But I will tell you this. These biscuits are so moist. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to make one big biscuit. Well, maybe I'll make 2 small biscuits. Yeah, I'll make 2 smaller biscuits. Anyway, that way I'll have me 6 biscuits. All right. Like I said, now this is smaller round. Just make it the same thickness, okay? That is a secret to not getting your other biscuits done quicker than the, you know, and you having to kind of figure out how you're going to cook all of them. Some's going to get more done than others. But if you make them the same thickness, all right? So here we have, as you can see, I've got 6 biscuits in this. Now you want to preheat your oven to about 350 degrees, okay? Preheat it to 350. And so that's what we're going to do. And then when I get ready to cook these biscuits, we're going to turn the camera back on and we're going to film that. But so right now, we're going to get the oven heated up and we're going to put these in the oven. Okay, folks, here we are. Now, we got our biscuits. I got my oven preheated to 350 degrees. Now, I like this little oven. I bought it at the store, and it got the French doors on the front, but it also has the turbo, which has the fan on it. So we're going to put these in here. Now, I got it set for a certain amount of time, but you just need to watch your biscuits, learn and know your oven. I've not cooked very many biscuits in this oven per se, so I don't know exactly how long it's going to be. I know for rolls, which we buy the pre-made rolls, and it only takes them about 10 minutes to cook in this oven. So we're going to see about the biscuits, how long it's going to take, and when they're done, we're going to come right back to you guys. Okay guys, our biscuits are done. Now this is, hang on just a second, it's over here. As you can see, they are, I'll get them in the camera there, they're done. I mean, now one of the things that I didn't tell you is before you put them in the oven, sometimes it's best to put a little bit of shortening or butter on the top of them, kind of, you know, baste the top of them with some melted butter. And they come out just wonderful. But I didn't do that on these because I have enough shortening in them. But what I do like to do is after they come out of the oven is I like to kind of just brush a little bit of melted butter on them. And my friend, I'm going to tell you something. This right here is, whew, hallelujah. This right here is some of the best biscuits that you're ever going to taste. And this is Southern Style Buttermilk Biscuits. Now, what I want to tell you is some people refer to Southern Style biscuits as, you know, you hear them say, oh man, my mom used to make those big old cat head biscuits. Now, cat head biscuits isn't so much referring to the size, but more or less the shape of the biscuit. And the way you get the cat head shape is you take your biscuits and once you knead the dough and you break it apart, you make your biscuit, you put it in an iron skillet. And once you start stuffing it, see, you stuff it in that iron skillet, then what's going to happen is it's going to, as they swell up and rise when they're cooking, they're going to rise together and you're going to get a cat head shape of a biscuit. And so that's why they call them the cat head biscuit. But there was always a good biscuit, man. I'm telling you what, I love going home for the holidays, visiting my mom when at all possible. She makes me some of the best biscuits in the world. Now, I'm going to grab one of these here. About that. Well, look at that. I mean, that is just nice. Look at the bottom of that biscuit. Look at the top of that. And listen, this is the secret, as I said before, is getting enough. Look at the steam coming off of this here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but man, I'm telling you what, you talking about moist. Oh, hallelujah, Jesus. And listen, y'all gonna, if you'll do what I showed you today, you're gonna have some of the best biscuits that you've ever had. And when your friends and family come over, they're gonna be like, hey man, where'd you learn to cook biscuits like that?